What is up, gamers? We're back again. Here with a game review today. We're gonna be reviewing Sonic X Shadow Generations. It's gonna be super epic awesome. We're gonna start with, Sonic Generations first and then go to Shadow. And it's gonna be a super awesome time. Hope you guys enjoy this video. Alright, so let's start off with my opinions on the, the original half of the game, Sonic Generations. Now, I love me some Sonic Generations. It's one of my favorite, if not the best, Sonic game I've ever played. But like I said, I have some gripes with it, so, let's just discuss it. Alright, so in discussion about the levels and whatnot, by far, the worst one, in my opinion, is Crisis City. I cannot fucking stand Crisis City. So to start off, the first part, let's talk about the first part of it, Act 1. The Act 1 is awful. Absolutely dog shit. Maybe I'm just butt at Sonic games, but it takes me more than like 5 minutes to pass that stage. And it's absolutely rancid. I hate the part where the wind blows. It's just bad. It's just really bad. I don't like it at all. And Act 2 isn't as bad. I don't know, it's still just not one of my favorites at all. Like, just the fire. I'm not just a big fan of the fire thing, And this also branches into the fact that, let's talk about the classic Sonic stages. It was cool to see him, classic Sonic come back as his own character. His stages are ass. I'm not gonna lie, most of them are butthole. The first time you play as him, it's the first time you turn on the game, you play Green Hill Act 1. It's not bad, it's Green Hill Zone, it's pretty mid. But then, when you get to Chemical Plant, I just don't like Chemical Plant, period. Sky Sanctuary, it's not, it wasn't that good. They try to replicate the classic Sonic style, but they just don't gel with me, and I just don't know why. Like, I fuck with Sonic 3 and Sonic 2 and Sonic 1 to a degree, but these just aren't good. These don't live up to, how good the actual 2D games were. I also think this hate towards classic Sonic's stages in Sonic Generations can also be transferred to Sonic Forces, but that entire game is just a whole mess, and let's not discuss that. But yeah, in conclusion, most of classic Sonic stages are butthole. Not a fan of them at all. Probably the worst parts of the game. But then Modern Sonic is a peculiar character for me, because I've played multiple modern Sonic games. I've played Sonic Unleashed. I played Sonic 06, not really a good example. I played Sonic Forces, and also not a good example. There's not really good examples of modern Sonic anywhere. But in this game, it's probably the highlight of it. The boost formula really works in this game. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, just boosting through all the stages, finding little secrets and stuff like that they're cool. I like it. I like playing as Modern Sonic in Sonic Generations. It's my preferred way of doing it. And I will replay Act 2 way more than I will Act 1, unless I'm trying to get all the red rings, which I've done in 3 stages. So it's been a pain in the ass every single time. But yeah, I'm not gonna lie, Modern Sonic carries the game when it comes to gameplay wise. I'm not saying the rest of the game is bad, but classic Sonic's tolerable, but I just don't like playing the stages. And I would much rather do Modern Sonics. My personal favorite stage, since the first thing I talked about was my least favorite being Crisis City. Probably Crisis City tied with Chemical Plant's my least favorites. My favorite is probably, not gonna lie, what is it, City Escape, I think? It's the Sonic Adventure 2 one. It's the one where, the big ass truck chases you, and that was always my favorite level when I played it when I was a kid. And it's still my favorite. I guess I just have good taste, what can I say? But yeah, I fuck with that level hard. The second favorite's probably Sonic Heroes one. I really like that one. Yeah, really the most notable things, like the most notable levels in Sonic Generations are the older ones, like the first 3 from the classic games and then the 3 from the 2000s. But what I don't see a lot of people talking about is the ones from like immediately before the Sonic Generations came out, like Sonic 06 and Unleashed and Sonic Colors, which I completely forgot was in this game. A lot of people don't talk about it, probably because they're not as memorable as those other 6 I just mentioned. I'm not gonna lie. Like Crisis City, like I said, kind of sucks ass. Sonic Unleashed, it's not bad. I'm not saying it's bad at all. It's actually one of my favorites. But you know, it's just not super notable. You know, a lot of people don't have, or at least I don't have, a super amount of nostalgia for Sonic Unleashed. And I'm probably wrong. People do have nostalgia for that game. But, you know, it just doesn't have like a big personality like Sonic 3 or Sonic 2 might have, you know? Sonic Colors, Planet Wisp. Number one, I haven't played Sonic Colors, so can't really judge that hard, but it's kind of, the stage is kind of buns, not gonna lie. Like, I like the colors of Planet Wisp are cool, but that's like the nature part I'm talking about. The industrial missiles and robots part, that shit is ass. I hate playing that part. And I just wish that the entire Planet Wisp was the nature blue aesthetic, you know what I'm saying? I'd make it 10 times better, but that's probably, I don't know. I just haven't heard a lot of people give their opinions about that stage. I just wanted to air mine out because I thought it'd be interesting. Talking about another part of the gameplay, the challenges, like, you know, you play above, that happen above, you know, the stages. I think they're a cool addition, I'm not gonna lie. Some of them piss me off terribly, like, oh my goodness gracious. The ones where you have to follow the ring dropper and get a certain amount of rings by the time you get to the end of the stage. Oh my goodness, playing that one on Chemical Plant made me want to actually hurl myself out of a window. It was insane. I tried that one maybe 5 times and it made me even angrier every time I played it. They're not really, a lot of them aren't terrible. I remember really not liking playing them whenever I was little, but that's probably just because I was balls at video games. But now that I've replayed them, they're not terrible. They're not bad. Like, they're fun, like, time occupiers, but I'm glad they're not, like, a super major part of the game. You only have to play, like, required, you only have to play, like, 6. You have to play, like, 9, I'm pretty sure. Because I did the big math in my head. I'm pretty sure that's the number. But, like I said, they're an optional part of the game, but they're not bad. Some of them aren't the greatest, some of them aren't the worst, you know. But it's a fun little thing to get all the other collectibles, which I will talk about now. Adding on to Sonic Generations already like huge list of collectibles, like art and music you can get from like beating the aforementioned you know, challenges. They added Chow Rescue, and now I thought this would mean they'd add the Chow Garden back from Sonic Adventure 2, which I have not played Sonic Adventure 2. Here's a price point on Sonic Adventure 2 for the GameCube. What the hell? I'm not doing that. It'd be cool if they re-released it. You know, Sega should re-release it. I'm just saying. But yeah, they didn't bring it back. They just brought it, which I feel like is kind of wasted potential. If you're gonna bring the Chows back and rescue them throughout the stages, bring back the Chow Garden, you know. But there's like 50, I think, you can rescue throughout all 9 stages. There's 3 per act. And I've done a few. Like, I'm not gonna lie, they're kind of hard to miss, or they're kind of hard to see. Some of them are pretty obvious. Like, you'll see them just running along, and then you'll be like, wait. And I had to have a guide to get most of them. I've gotten like 30 probably. I've gotten like 30. I've gotten a good bit of them, but I don't intend to get the rest of them because I'm not trying to sit here and, you know, spend some more hours on Sonic Generations when I could be gaming on some other games, you know, that we'll talk about later this year. Which I mean for my best of 2024 video. Not gonna lie, the Chow thing was a cool inclusion, but I wish they would have expanded on it more. And then the music and game, or not the music and games, the music and art. I don't really remember if they expanded on the art or not. I don't think they did. But I know they added some new music. They removed like one and added something from Shadow the Hedgehog, which is ruin the game, Sega. You fucking suck. You ruined it. You removed this song instead for Westopolis. Gargle my balls. Okay. In general, it's just a cool collectible. You know, you can scroll through all of them. You know, see what you've got. I think it's pretty cool. It's a nice addition to a legacy game. You don't see a lot of these like legacy games anymore. You used to back in the day, like with that that one Kirby game on Wii and Sonic Generations, obviously. But you don't see a lot of that now. This is mostly the reason why I like Sonic Generations, is because it reflects on all the great parts of Sonic's history, and it just, you know, it's a cool collectathon. You know, it's cool to see your entire list of like all the cool collectibles you can get, you know, expand. And I'm not gonna lie, I give Sonic Generations on the beanie scale around a good 8 out of 10. I'm going with a 7.5 to an 8. You know, we'll go around that points scale. It's one of the better Sonic games, but who knows? Maybe there could be better ones. I haven't played Sonic Frontiers yet, so, or Sonic Superstars, but we'll see about that. Now let's get to Shadow's part. Now we're getting to the Shadow Generations part of the video, which I will be discussing in length because I have more to say about it than I did Sonic Generations, which it's pretty much, you guys know what I said. So, this is like the first time in Sonic 06 that we've been able to fully play a game as Shadow, which I think is absolutely nuts. I cannot believe that they did not put him in more games, because it's almost been 20 years since, you know, we had a full campaign for Shadow. But I'm glad to see, you know, Shadow's getting some more attention. You know, this is the year of Shadow. You know, he's getting a whole freaking movie about him where he has a gun. Check that shit out. And we know he got this whole game looking back at his past, which he definitely deserved, because Shadow's my goat. Shadow's my goat. So let's discuss the stages. You know, the stages are... It's actually kind of weird, though, because Shadow has been around longer than Sonic was around whenever Sonic Generations came out. Because that was like his 20th anniversary, I believe. And then Shadow's like, what, 22nd anniversary this year? So, or not 23rd. So I think that's kind of wicked wild, you know, they didn't do this sooner. You know, we've got Space Colony Arc, you know, that's from the first game he was in, Adventure 2. We got Rail Canyon from Sonic Heroes. We've got Kingdom Valley from Sonic 06. We've got the Sonic Forces one. I forgot what it's called. I don't care about Sonic Forces. Then we've got freaking Chaos Island from Sonic Frontiers. I didn't even know Shadow was in that game. Maybe he is, maybe he's not. And then the last one is from Sonic Adventure 1, I'm pretty sure. It's Radical Highway, which he wasn't in that game. I don't know how the flip he got there. If I'm correct, that might be from Adventure 2. I don't know, I haven't played those games. But my personal favorite is probably gonna be Kingdom Valley. Simply because it has some pretty cool mechanics that I jive with, you know. And I like the mechanics in that one a good bit more than the other ones. Least favorite is probably going to be Rail Canyon, because that's the entire stage is grinding on rails. Like, oh my gosh, can I play the game actually and get off the rails? This is just not a good stage, in my opinion. Space Colony Arc is always solid, you know, it's in space, so that's cool. The Sonic Forces one, you know, it's pretty much just a redo of Sonic Forces, the first stage that you go through. And it's not bad, but it's not, like, amazing either. Chaos Island, I like Chaos Island, it's pretty cool. One of the morphs that you use for the mechanics there, that one's pretty cool, but we'll get to that in a minute. I'd say that's probably number 3 on my list, but behind Space Colony Arc. And then another good one that I say it's middle of the road is Radical Highway. You know, it being the last stage before you kick the final boss's ass. I like it. I think Sonic Adventure just needs a little more representation, you know, besides 30-year-olds glazing it on the internet. In general, I'd say it's a pretty solid group of levels. You know, there's nothing really terrible there, but on the stages part, we're gonna give it like a 9 out of 10 on the Beanie scale. -1 for Rail Canyon. I really can't stand Rail Canyon. All it is grinding on the rails. But anyways, let's talk about like one of the new main mechanics for this game. The morphs, the Doom morphs, which I think is a pretty interesting concept. Because I'm not going to spoil the whole story, but he's got to do with Black Doom, which, if you don't know, is what Shadow was created from to make him the ultimate life form. But yeah, the first one you get is Doom Spears, and while it's simple, it's really simple, probably because it's like the first one you get, like when you immediately start the game. But, you know, it's effective, it's a cool attack. The one where you glide on the water, the Doom Manta Ray or whatever, it's chill. It's kind of hard to control because you're constantly moving no matter what. You know, like no matter if you press the stick forward or not, which I kind of don't fuck with a lot, you know. But it's alright, I guess. And then the Doom morph where like you turn into a squid, that one's cool. It opens up a lot of stuff that you can do in the hub world, and also it's pretty cool mechanic. You know, you can swing from place to place, and I think it's one of the most used ones in the game because you don't really think about. You use the Manta Ray one a few times. You know, you use Doom Spears pretty, not that often. But yeah, I just think, personally, it's my favorite. And then, in place of going super in the game, you know, turning into Super Shadow, you have the Doom Wings. But the Doom Wings, it's one of the last things you get, I believe, if I remember correctly. I could have sworn you get it like the second stage, but maybe I'm just a tweaker and I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. But you get it you also can use it at the very end in Radical Highway. It's cool, I guess, man, you know what I'm saying? But I don't know, I don't really fuck with it that hard. I mean, it's cool. It takes away your rings like being supersonic, and that does. But I mean, it doesn't really make you invincible. It just lets you fly around, which is cool. But, you know, I give it, it's middle of the road. So the Doom Morphs is a pretty cool mechanic, I'm not gonna lie. I really do appreciate them adding that, because they could have just done Shadow going through all the levels like normal Shadow does. But, you know, they just had to unleash Shadow Sigma, which, at the end of the game, by the way, he loses all those powers and he never uses them again. That's why you never see him with them again. But it was fun while it lasted. And then referring to let's get to the bosses. The bosses, I think, are way better than the Sonic Generations one. Like, the rival battles were cool, which the rival battles were cool in Sonic Generations. Like, my favorite was probably Metal Sonic, but all Shadow, Metal, and Silver, they were all pretty solid. They were like one of my favorite parts of that game. But when it comes to like the bosses, like the Death Egg, which was stupid as hell, like Egg Dragoon and Perfect Chaos. I like Perfect Chaos, but the other two are kind of buns, and including the last boss. And I just really prefer the Shadow ones. And I'm not gonna lie, I got a D rank on like all of them except for Mephiles, because I'm buns at the game. I got like a D rank on a good chunk of the axe, because I'm just not a good Sonic gamer, I guess. But yeah, the Bio Lizard was a good fight. It took a minute for me to understand what was going on because I'm slow. I got deprived oxygen after I was being born, so my brain is a little slow. The second one was Metal Overlord, and he was badass. I like that fight because Metal Overlord's just a cool design in general, and then you beat him by yourself. Are you goated? The third one's Mephiles. That one's probably my favorite because I think the Sonic 06 lore is interesting. Like, they tried to do something different with it, and I don't know, I just thought Mephiles was cool when I was little, and he's still kind of cool. So I enjoyed seeing him and fighting him again. And you use the Doom Squid morph, which is always cool. I always jive with that. And then the last boss, the final boss, which is, spoiler alert, Black Doom. He's cool. He was really easy. He was the easiest boss, which is kind of weird for me. I had more trouble with Bio Lizard than I did with him, which, you know, being the final boss, you know, you wouldn't expect that, but I guess he's just not goated like I am. But yeah, in the grander scheme, in the scale of bosses, Shadow Generations definitely kicks Sonic's ass, minus the rival fights. I think it's cool that you have to go throughout the levels to find collectibles to actually physically unlock them, instead of just like beating a level and then, you know, collecting a red ring and then getting a collectible, because you have to like actively go find a chest and open it with the token. But I mean, I don't know, I would just prefer getting red rings and doing the collectibles, but it's cool that they added more depth to the hub world, you know, to make it more enjoyable and interesting. But I just thought that was a cool, you know, adding to the depth of the hub world. They did a pretty good job on doing that, not gonna lie. And then the collection room, you gotta go to the menu and go there, which is kind of lame. I didn't really like that, but it's cool seeing all the. It was cool seeing all the other characters that weren't in Sonic Generations in Shadow Generations, like Omega. I don't really care about the Orbots or whatever. You see Gerald and Maria. Remember when Maria got shot? Hilarious. You also see Big the Cat. I missed my goat Big. He talks about wanting to learn Chaos Control. That's cool. And also Rouge is there, but she's in Sonic Generations too, so she doesn't really count. But it's cool to see Big and Omega. I wish they were in, you know, Sonic Generations, but what can you do? They're just not Sigma like I am. But yeah, in general, I'd say Shadow Generations has a better hub world than Sonic. But on the collectible scale, Sonic Generations blows Shadow out the water. And then stage-wise, I'm not gonna lie, maybe it's the nostalgia talking, but I'm gonna have to go with Sonic Generations with the stages, because not only are there more, but I don't know, I just like the Sonic stages more than the Shadow ones. I'm not saying the Shadow ones are bad, they're great. They are awesome for what modern Sonic should be, and they should be basing future modern Sonic games off of the ones in Shadow Generations, but just the feel of going through that nice green hill and Sky Sanctuary, and the Sonic Adventure ones and Unleashed and Heroes. The Sonic ones are just so much cooler, I think. And like I said, I'm not saying Shadow Generations levels are bad, but I just enjoyed the Sonic ones more because, like, the boost form, you go faster in the Sonic ones, which is what I look for in a Sonic game. But in the Shadow ones, you know, you go a little bit slower, and it's more focused on mechanics than going fast. And that's not really what I look for when I'm playing Sonic. But I'm not, like I said, I'm not saying they're bad. But yeah, that's pretty much my Sonic and Shadow Generations review. Terribly sad I didn't see any Sonic X Shadow shipping in the game. I thought that's what the game was going to be about when it was announced. Unfortunate, but you know, what can you do? But all in all, I'm going to give this game a solid 8.5 out of 10. 8 to 8.5 combined. Shadow Generations in general, I'd say I prefer over Sonic Generations. But them together, it makes like an 8 to 8.5 on the Beanie scale, of course. But yeah, one of the go-to games of all time will definitely be on my best of 2024 list this year. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment for the Huzz. It would make the Bruz really happy. And you know, have a great day and God bless. Bye-bye.